You've tuned into Bellingham Podcast Media Tech for the week of August 14th, 2016. Episode number 13. I'm AJ Barce.
And I'm Chris Powell. On this unlucky episode, AJ has some special news about his connection to Washington State Parks. I've always said I have a face made for radio. Soon you'll be seeing my mug on video. And we'll both tackle the best spots in the Sehome district in Bellingham. All that, we'll have some coffee, we'll talk. No big whoop. Next on BPM Tech.
I think you got a schmutz on your face.
I'm getting a little bit clamped in the capacha.
What is that reference even from?
Kabubble. You don't know the reference, Booby?
No, I don't, Booby.
It's Coffee Talk with Linda Richmond from Saturday Night Live.
Ah, that's what it is.
Ivy.
I saw that and I'm just like, I have no idea what this is, but I look forward to it.
It's totally butter. It's totally butter.
I love the hands.
Yes.
I love the hands.
You can't see the hands, but yes, it's there.
Hey, Chris, where the heck are we?
Oh, my goodness, AJ. We are at a place that takes you about 1,000 steps to get through on your wearable device. And no, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the Costco parking lot. We are... I specifically was bugging AJ as we were prepping to record this. I asked, let's go to the Northridge Trail on Barkley Hill in Bellingham, Washington. There's an area with 3 benches, and it is serene. We're in nature, the intersection of technology and nature and quiet. And so hopefully the audio recording will be at a decent level. But yeah, Northridge Trail, buddy.
This is the nature studio. Okay. Yeah. None of that sterile environment. We got plenty of blue sky. It's probably, 80 degrees out right now?
Oh, but inside the wonderful insulation of all these beautiful trees, and with the breeze, it's got to be about 66. Yeah. It's just perfect, ladies
I have to
and
say,
gentlemen.
the Northridge Park is probably one of the hidden treasures. Like, if you're in downtown Bellingham and you're just like, oh yeah, I've taken the railroad trail and I've taken this trail, I've done the falls, keep going. You see Barkley Hill and you got to get up that thing somehow. And then when you do, the Northridge Trail system is just awesome. It's just a big loop, is all it is.
Yep.
But, it's a hidden gem. Like, if you need to get out and, plenty of dog walking, plenty of baby walking, plenty of
Squirrels
as my dog just kind of trips out a little bit.
Yep.
Ducks. You probably hear the ducks in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Owls. I've seen owls here on my runs.
Yes.
Anyway, it's cool. Northridge Park, check it out.
All right. AJ, what you drinking? I see a multicolored bottle there.
I went actually, this is for Ariana, but she's all the way over there.
Yes.
But I am drinking Hagen, produced in Salal, Washington.
Sela, yeah.
Sela. Oh, is that near that Sequim?
It's near that Yakima.
Yeah, Yakima. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's just Hagen's brand, 100% tropical blend juice.
Awesome.
Ariana loves this stuff. She swears by it. And what's cool, it's no sugar added. It's really cheap and it's tasty.
Very good.
Typically we use it in our smoothies, but whatever Prego wants, Prego gets.
There you go. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. And you, sir?
I have a Nalgene water bottle filled with the finest tap water known to Lake Whatcom here in Bellingham, but I have a special secret weapon. No, it's just one of those little flavor pack things I threw in there. But
squeegee?
It makes the water tasty. So yeah, just drinking water and.
Whoa! It makes it more tasty because
yes.
It was tasty to start. We have some of the best taste in water.
Totally, compared to some other areas in this world, we're really blessed.
Yeah,
and so yeah, so
and it's in a surprisingly for those not being able to see this, it's actually in a plastic Nalgene.
Yes,
that's red, not black.
Well, yes, I do have the black one at home. But this is the red one because I'm feeling rather multicolored.
Oh, awesome. Accessorizing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris, what's new with you?
What is new? So I've been having some wonderful... I've enjoyed the process of coming up with an idea, starting a website.
Yeah.
And just seeing how things are going. And so...
And how things are going.
Things are going wonderfully. I'm not expecting to gain... I'm not expecting it to go viral or anything, but WhatcomWorkflow.com is a website that has interviews with professionals in Whatcom County that talks about the tools and technology they use to get work done. And so I have also written some tech articles, short blurbs about things that I think might help people out in de-stressing their computing life. Plus, there's a number of fine professionals that have taken the time to answer some interview questions, talk about the computers they use, where are their favorite places around Whatcom County to both relax and get work done. And it has been fun. And it turns out that I have an upcoming featured professional on Whatcom Workflow, but it's not just going to be in print, it's going to be in video. And this dovetails into your Patreon work, which is patreon.com/AJ Barcet.
Yes.
I've heard it enough times on this podcast, I have it memorized.
Hey, all right.
Yes. So, yes, we are going to be coming up with a Whatcom Workflow /Patreon look at AJ's workflow in photography coming up in the near future, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, me too. We'll probably... we actually, so truth be known, we've actually shot part of it. However, because I'm anal and I'm an artist, I don't like the look of it. So we're going to reshoot some of it.
Fair enough. And that's important because as part of the curator of Whatcom Workflow, I want all my future professionals to be happy and proud to publicize or refer to their interview. So we're going to reshoot the thing.
Well, also I want to make you look good too. Like the backlighting on you kind of got washed out, and I'm just like, no, we can't.
Was the halo too much?
It was. You were very like angelic C sharp, like Chris Powell, Chris Powell, and I'm like, no, this is bad. Like even if I put you in black and white, like you just made you look even more assassinish, and I couldn't roll with it. So.
I don't want to be the technology assassin. I want to get your good side and get to know your workflow, and so that's that'll be coming up soon in the near future.
Yeah.
So.
Who else is up on the site right now?
We have a couple of professionals. So there's a website out there called WhatcomTalk.com, not to be confused with Whatcom Workflow. I had no intentions of, but it just turns out that we're kind of starting with Whatcom. Stacy Sledge is one of the main people in WhatcomTalk.com. She was my first feature professional. So props to Stacy. Thanks so much. We've got a couple people from there are graphic designers. There's some marketing people. There's some management consultants. It's a wide variety. I don't want to be just, there's a number of interviews out there with people that, yes, they only roll a MacBook 13 and an iPhone and Microsoft Office, and that's it. And they have like Facebook and Spotify on the apps they use. It's like, I want a wide variety. And so I've gotten some people with PCs. I have some people that say, I don't like technology, and that they, it's more of a hindrance than a help. And this is great, but each person is unique, and the more that we get to share and the more that we get to know others around the community, the more we build community.
Dig it.
Yeah.
That was a good plug.
Well, I'm enjoying the process. And by the way, I'm going to do a shameless plug because, hey, this is half my show.
Yeah.
If you are a professional in Whatcom County out there in podcast land, and you use technology and some other technology to be able to get your work done, hello at WhatcomWorkflow.com.
Hello
at WhatcomWorkflow.com. That is an email address. Drop me a line. So far, it's just me. I don't have a crew of people that, we're cranking out the site. It's kind of like I do an article a week.
You don't have a press pit where you just have, hordes of reporters ready to go out.
There's no stop the press. We got an major exclusive. No, we don't have that. I just, I get a chance to interview someone, and we, it's just me.
Dig it.
But it's a labor of love.
Yeah,
so,
I like it. I like where you're taking it, dude. It looks really sharp.
Well, it's it's nice on mobile. It's nice on desktop. It's nice with a sesame seed bun, and it's got 100% your day supply of vitamin C.
And for those professionals that want to be featured on it, special orders don't accept Chris. So
Yeah, that's right.
Drop them a line. Hello.
Here's one thing: I will not be doing paid advertising.
Awesome.
For that, until I'm given a 5-digit advancement or payment. But if in the meantime, it's just I won't do product placement or anything like that.
Awesome.
If I don't like something, I will probably say so. If I like something, I will say, hey, this works for me.
Yeah, the BPM approach of blogging.
Pretty much, until some company decides, hey, we want to pay you 6 figures to be able to talk about this technology. And then ladies and gentlemen, AJ and I will have a discussion. So that's pretty much what I've got going on right now. How about you, AJ? You've got like so many irons in the fire right now.
It's not even funny, man. Like in my last Patreon vlog, I basically said, like, first of all, I was pretty wired on my last Patreon vlog. I have so many different irons in the fire. Just wrapped up a shoot for, full disclosure, I'm a LifeX ambassador, LIFX.com. They're a technology company. They do, a smart, wireless connected light bulb. You've probably seen things like the GE Connect and all these other ones. I've tried a lot of them, and LifeX, I've bought several of them for my house. And so LifeX late last year offered me an ambassadorship. And with the stipulation, I wanted to, if I was an ambassador for them, I wanted to take one of their light bulbs and work it into photography. One of the things that I talk about on Patreon is alternatives to the main throes of what photography in the industry of photography is. And lighting kits are expensive. I mean, getting a mobile, whatever type of lighting situation you're trying to do, whether you're trying to do portraiture, or if you're trying to do, I don't know, a Street Fighter montage in downtown Bellingham.
Whatever gave you that idea? That was pulling something out of Randomville.
That was. So, make a long story short, I took some time and I developed what I call the LifeX Light Staff. And what it is that it's basically a labor of love. It's just basically a LifeX bulb that they provided me. Thanks, LifeX. Shout out to them. And basically, I took a paper tube and I ran some wiring to it so I could wire up to the actual light bulb. And then from there, create a wireless hotspot, and we took it out into the field. We, meaning I'm looking at Chris Powell, because Chris, as well as another one of our fellow colleagues, Kevin, we went out to downtown Bellingham at around 10 o'clock at night into a very dark and mysterious back alley, where these guys drop their voices a couple of octaves and they look totally awesome.
Yes.
And Chris was looking like this guy that with a mean disposition wearing a skull shirt. I think they call him the Punisher.
No, the vice principal.
Oh, the vice principal.
Yeah, that's it.
So we had the Punisher on set, as well as I'm currently calling Kevin's character the Highlander, even though I didn't quite mean it that way. But basically, the whole point of the shoot is I took a long exposure using nothing more than a Wi-Fi light bulb and my camera. And you'll see those the photos from that shoot coming shortly. But it was interesting because it was something I wanted to do, and the company was gracious enough to give me some time and leeway. And you'll see a blog on their blog about me, and
we might actually post a teaser picture on BellinghamPodcast.com.
Yeah, that might happen.
Just to kind of give you all an idea of what we're talking about. What I noticed being an actual model on a photo shoot.
Oh, booby, you are more than a model. You are walking it.
But I'm seeing like this was a well thought out project. AJ, shared with our colleague Kevin and me his sketched out plan of very detailed. This isn't like, yeah, let's go take some pictures or something. It'll be great. No, this was like massively detailed chapter verse from the book of DIY.
Yeah.
And you put it all together. You had the vision, and you told me stand right here. Kevin, stand right there. Hold.
Yeah.
And
that was.
So, it was great because we had Bellingham's finest kind of cruising around on a Friday night at 10 p.m.
Thank you, Bellingham PD, for not stopping and stopping and talking to us. I greatly appreciate that.
And especially seeing a guy with a black leather jacket, sunglasses at
and
night,
a crowbar. We had a crowbar, and Kevin's rocking this like saber.
Yes.
Like a legit, like it's blunt edge, but he's a martial artist. And so he's got one of his like practice sabers, and I'm just like, oh man, I hope we don't get stopped.
Blind Fury lives.
Yeah.
Well, so if this isn't intriguing you enough, folks, go to patreon.com/AJ Barsay, because you'll find out what the heck we're talking about over there. And it was a killer shoot. I look forward to any opportunity to be able to be someone that I, on the inside, am not. And I like playing a character.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Well, cool, Chris. Like I said, it was fun. And
But you've got an additional iron in the fire. You've had some stuff. Talk to us about the Washington State Parks thing, amigo. Come on.
Okay, so Washington State Parks Foundation, WSPF.org. Awesome people. Let me rewind a little bit. So about, I don't know, a year or two ago, I get a cold call while I was up at the university, and it was a professor from the other side of the state. I think he teaches for I think it was Wazoo. Anyway, his name's Ken Carper. Ken, if you're listening, what up? Anyway, so Ken gives me a buzz because he saw my work on 500 Picks. This is, I think, right before I launched Patreon. And so he was just like, hey, introduced himself. And I'm like, cool. What can I do for you? Like, I don't really support other institutions. Like, you're not one of my profs, And we chuckled and stuff. He goes, no, I'm an adventure photographer. I like going out, taking pretty pictures of landscapes, typically of Washington State. And I saw your work, and have you heard of the Washington State Parks Foundation? I go, no. And he goes, take a look at them. They have this site called myparkphotos.com. And several organizations look at the collective of photos that get submitted there, and they use it for their promotional materials. And I go, okay, cool, thanks. Thanks for the heads up. So I did. I submitted one, Forward Unto Dawn, Forward Unto Dusk. Forward Unto Dawn is Halo, sorry. Forward Unto Dusk is my photo. And Forward Unto Dusk is the Admiralty Lighthouse. It's one of the photos that I took. It's over by Fort Casey up on Whidbey Island. And I posted it there, and I posted on 500 Picks. I posted it several places, but I was selected. I was Mr. December.
Mr. December.
That's what I say. December of that year, I was the photo of the month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I got selected, and it was really cool. And I got talking to the people over there, and fast forward a little bit farther, I like lighthouses. I have a thing for them. And so I've been putting together kind of a montage of different lighthouses that I've traveled to. And I had a blog post that I was working for Patreon on of just my favorite places and stuff. And I was posting a teaser actually on Facebook or one of the social media networks. I don't remember. And one of the representatives of Washington State Parks Foundation, she reached out to me. She's like, hey, DM me on email. I'd like to talk to you. So we got chatting and stuff. And she had this idea of me being a guest author, which they don't really do a lot of. And I was like, cool, and just give me a couple weeks. And so I put together an awesome piece of my 4 favorite lighthouses in Washington and what makes them awesome, what makes them family friendly. Basically a BPM very centered blog post with my favorite photos of those lighthouses. So you can check that out. It's on the Washington State Parks Foundation blog, or we'll probably put a link in the show notes and stuff. And so it was really cool because I'm homegrown. I've lived here all my life. I grew up in these woods, and it was just really cool that, the Washington State Parks Foundation reached out to me. Like, I was really honored. Like, it's not like a ego stroke or anything. I was just like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
That's the beauty of the internet, because out of the blue, you get 2 contacts.
Yeah.
And, hey, kids at home, listen up. Not that you're going to be like a rock star on YouTube or something by singing in front of a iPhone.
But you might.
But the work that you do by putting content out there, and for you, AJ, that's like photos and other, the material, and you have a theme, and you do good work, and hey, it gets recognized.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, relay.fm, we're available. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding.
I see a tweet in the future coming from you. I see.
No, that's all right. No, but I mean, it's just important. I'm proud that you've done some good work. Not only did you get like the Bellingham Essence of Bellingham award, your work is getting recognized, and that's important. And so good on you. Keep doing the lighthouses. What are the themes do you go for? I've seen your work, and you definitely have great mountain. You're definitely capturing the scenery that makes Washington unique and amazing. What are the themes that, other than lighthouses, do you currently mess with, or are you aspiring to start up now that you've had this taste of bigger publicity?
Well, I mean, I always kind of go for... Okay, so if you look at my photography, there's 2 main things that you'll see a lot of. Lighthouses, because as a kid, and I talk about this on my Patreon, there was one lighthouse in my childhood that I loved. And growing up, it's one of the oldest lighthouses, and it's here in Washington and stuff. And I loved seeing that little Jacques Cousteau cap-looking, old man of the sea, wayfaring mentality type of lighthouse. And just being able to capture that, and as a kid, that was my aspiration. I wanted to capture what I felt with that lighthouse. Mm-hmm. And what was funny is that lighthouse is always in disrepair. It's always being constantly upgraded and updated because it's so old. It was built in the late 1800s. And I recently found out it's getting a fresh coat of paint. It's getting renovated. It no longer has its red cap. It traded it for a black cap, so that's Chris Powell approved.
I like that, yes.
But no, it just, a lot of the stuff that I shoot, honestly, is the stuff as a kid I always wanted to capture and share. And long before there was the internet, long before I had a camera of, a real camera. And so a lot of it's just my reverse bucket list, like things that I saw as a kid that I was like, wow, I really would love to have that on my wall. And because I'm not greedy, I don't just take it for me. I like sharing it. That's kind of my general theme. So lighthouses is one. A weird one with me is when I travel, I find viewfinders, like those things where you put a quarter in and you can look through this telescope or binoculars for 5 minutes. I love finding those things because everywhere you go, little known fact, they're all different. East Coast has a very different looking ones than we have here on the West Coast. Europe, they look totally different depending on what country you're in. It's kind of like collecting stamps. That's kind of how I see things. I like grabbing stuff that, we kind of glaze over sometimes. It's a lighthouse. Oh, it's pretty. But I kind of look at it from the perspective of, okay, well, if it had personality, what would it be? You look at like a short, squat Admiralty lighthouse. It's overly, like, the Admiralty lighthouse, if you look at it, like, it's very short, it's very squat, but it's very, like, bulldogish, like the old Marine watching as the sun goes down. I give them a personality, and with that personality in mind, take a picture. Same thing with viewfinders, whatever. I kind of personify stuff. That's kind of my theme.
Sounds good. So WSPF.org.
And go to their blog.
Yep, in the blog. All right, sounds good.
Yeah. So, Chris, is there any new technology you've been messing around with?
So it's funny you should mention that. So the past couple of days I went to a conference. It was a simulcast of a leadership summit. Lots of world-class speakers talking about ways to improve one's leadership. It was very inspiring in a number of ways. There's just so much information that I equated to like a conveyor belt of nutritious food, and it keeps going, and you can only grab one. You can't grab a whole lot, and you have to like grab one, eat one, but there's so much nutritious food that's going on by.
So it's Kurokuro's belt of sushi.
Pretty much, yes. and so much to write down and digest. My penmanship, unfortunately, has taken a nosedive since 5th grade, and my thumbs are fairly bulky on even an iPhone beast of a screen. What app, if you were to use, I made the decision I was going to use my phone. What app would I use to jot down these notes?
Okay.
Apple Notes default app, perhaps? Okay, that's one.
Maybe. Quip?
Quip, Ulysses, Byword. I'm gone through all of them.
I feel like I need to do a drum roll right now.
No, what this weird turn of events, I chose to use the Day One app.
Oh yeah,
which is
Day 1 or Day 1 2.
Day ONE, because
they have two versions.
You can I think either. If the classic one has the notes section, and I think it's probably the newer one.
Yeah, I think
so if you do at Day One or just Google Day One app, this unfortunately Android users and Windows users, I'm afraid we're out of luck here, but you can just sit back and be entertained. It's mainly for OS X desktop and iOS phones and devices. Anyway, Day One has a journal feature. It's one of the cleanest, nicest journaling apps out there, but there's a notes feature. Mm-hmm. And it totally, on a particular day, you can capture the notes. And I like the look of it. It has very sans serif font. It has Markdown at the touch of a button, so I can have Markdown organized. I can export it to wherever I want if I want to do some other processing. And I found myself using the Day One app to not journal my notes, but just to use that to take notes. And I'm using a Chromebook. I just got an Android tablet in the mail because I want to be able to speak to all different types of tech. But I was really...
Which tablet?
Okay. So I don't really want to invest a whole lot of money in an Android tablet, and I am rather discouraged that with the fragmentation of so many devices and so many operating systems, both major and minor versions, in comparison with Apple's, which is like almost all of them are on a particular operating system version. I went with an Asus ZenPad 8.
Okay.
Partly because it would be able to run Android Marshmallow, the almost latest version. An 8-inch screen is a nice size for what I would want to demonstrate to clients. Very similar to the iPad Mini, but also it was really affordable, refurbished, and in good shape. And so as a professional technologist, I want to be able to meet people where they're at with whatever they're at. Here comes the soapbox. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I can't stand it when I see technologists that are saying, "Oh, I don't do Apple," or "I'm not a Windows guy. I only work on Apple. I don't do Android. I only have an iPhone." Puke. I do not like that. If you are a professional technologist and you want to be relevant and you want to reach the masses, you're going to say, I know Windows, I know Mac OS coming this fall, I know iOS, I know Android, I know Linux, I know fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I don't know Windows Phone, but I could probably navigate my way around. Oh, by the way, they're kind of dead. But anyway.
Well, it's actually whatever Windows currently is, Windows 10, it's now form factor to the phone as opposed to it being...
Right.
But anyway, yes, I totally see what you're saying. Like, you and I are kind of in the same boat. There are technologists and there are fanboys. Or fangirls, whatever.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where I jokingly say, like, when somebody, matter of fact, just today, somebody asked me, it's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I go, "Oh, I'm a technologist." And then I go, "What is that?" And so I try to explain it, teach technology, blah, blah, blah. And I go, let me put it a different way. I'm a tech cynic. I hate technology equally because it's got to prove to me that it's actually worth using. And with that framework, like, that's the thing, is that you have technologists that are a fan of everything by defunct, or you have those of us that are just cynics, and we're like, okay, so tell me, or show me why this tool is going to work for me. Because if it doesn't work, why use it?
Yep. So in efforts, and I've gone the route with, my personal device is an Apple iPhone. Fair enough. I need to be able to say
today. I mean, before it used to be a Nexus.
Correct. And I went down that Android road and I made that my default device, but I wanted to be able to, when the time comes, when I have a client, I have this Android phone and I want to explore this way to improve my technology. Well, I want to be able to bust out my device and say, hey, let's walk through these steps together.
Yeah.
Which is why I bought an affordable tablet, because I don't want to have to pay for another phone. Mm-hmm. The iPad Pro is great for the big desktop version. If someone is thinking about doing that, I'll bust out the beast and you can take a look at it. It's great. You want to learn this? Got you covered. You want to learn this? Got you covered. So yeah, Chromebook is something that I want to. I went down the road when they first came out. They were very affordable, no viruses, ties in nicely with the Google account. Oh, it's still the same. Features like that, but they've improved upon their hardware.
Yeah,
and
their battery life.
Oh, by the way, boys and girls, I get about 8 hours of life with regular use on my Google Chromebook laptop, which is about $150 to $170, nicely equipped.
Yeah.
Yes, and send you letters to Bellingham, a Bellingham pod. Yeah. I know there are people out there like, well, but you can't do this that you can on a Windows laptop. Fine, I totally get that.
But again, it goes back to we are to investigate the tool so that if somebody asks, we can say, oh, take a look at this tool.
And that's where I'm coming from, and that's what I want to do, to be able to say, no, I can't offer this. When you go to an auto mechanics place, I'm sorry, I don't work on Kias. Really? I'm sorry, we don't serve chicken here at this restaurant. Really? People would be aghast to hear this kind of thing. Why are we accepting someone limiting tech? Now, if you're a family practice physician and you need brain surgery,
right?
I'm going to thank you for not saying I don't work on brains.
As he breaks out a spoon and go, come here, Chris.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a horrible visual, AJ. But so I've been messing with a Chromebook, and if you have a Google account, it's affordable. Mm-hmm. It's great for light web research. You want to watch a Netflix video? Okay, it could work depending on the model you get and the RAM you got inside. But for light usage, great. I'm also going in Android because I like seeing where, I want to see where Android's going with their apps, which are running almost parallel to iOS apps in a number of ways. Notice how I'm not saying all, but Android has a certain world that a lot of people are in.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. And so now I'm off my soapbox.
Okay.
And back to our show. So, any tech you've been messing with?
Not really. There was one that I just kind of wanted to throw out there, and it's called Punkt, punkt.ch. And I mean, before the show, I had you click on the link because I had to have you look at this. Now,
yes. Fast
forward here. What Punkt is, or I'm presuming that's how you pronounce it. Punkt. I don't know the full story behind it. Full disclosure, I came across this while reading a magazine. I was reading the Red Bulletin, which is the Red Bulls magazine. I managed to get a free subscription a while back.
Okay, hold on. The Red Bulls, is that like...
Red Bull, like the energy drink.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have a publication.
They have a magazine.
Correct.
I need to get out more.
Dude, like I said, I'd gotten a free subscription, and they're outdoorsy. They're very, I mean, everything that you see in their advertisements for their energy drink is basically in the publication.
All right.
They have a tech or a gear section typically. Anyway, I saw this, and it was a all black, big button, almost like a BlackBerry type screen. And I think the pull quote was the smartest dumb phone you've never had, or something like that. And so I click on it, and I go to the site, and basically it's made in Italy, designed by, I think, a Swiss designer. I can't remember. Like, it's a conglomerate of like European influence into this very fashionable phone, where it's a dumb phone. I mean, you can text, you can make phone calls, and it has a pretty screen. I don't even think it has a camera, but
you don't need a camera, kids. You got to make a phone call. Anyway.
Well, no, it was just interesting. It's high fashion technology. And we've seen this before. Like BlackBerry, there was the Porsche Design Labs that did the Porsche designed BlackBerry and stuff. But the reason why I wanted to bring it up on the show is, Chris Powell, do you think there is a place in your heart and your pocket for a dumb phone?
Absolutely. There are times, when you're at the buffet of technology, I overeat way too many times, and my brain doesn't know how to process all that I have consumed. And to be able to, what is the purpose of a phone? Let's break it down. For at least 150 years, it was to simply make a call, to contact one other individual. Now,
or if you had a party line.
There you go. Party line, that's a different story. But to accomplish the essential tasks of making a phone call, making a text message, and that pretty much could do it for me. I have other devices that if I wanted to, I don't need to shoot a photo with my phone. I don't need to stream music with my phone. I don't need to draw. I mean, there's other ways that you can get these tasks done. Yes, it's wonderful to have an amazingly burly device in your pocket to be able to do everything you want. But when it boils down to it, that Punkt phone has some teeth to it. And, oh, by the way, for those of you out there that are kind of overwhelmed and overloaded and burned out with technology, something to consider. If it works on your carrier signal, well, you got to make phone calls, and you can text message to keep in touch. One less thing, a number of things that you don't have to worry about. And you can focus your mind on other things.
Yeah, and that's what was interesting for me reading the background on the phone is, Punkt is trying to stay, like, one of their slogans was something along the lines of stay connected by detoxing from technology. And this is something that you and I have talked about several times is, we've gotten to the point where I can't remember. I think New York Times recently put out an article. Like, we, on average, check our device. I didn't use the word phone, our device. Like, on average, some 187 times a day.
I would probably say that's low end. If we're awake,
average.
16 hours of consciousness during a day and 187 average. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but I mean, what are they? It's usually, oh, I got a status update. I have to check it. Like, we've Pavlovian dogged this to the point where it's like, ooh, I hear a little chirp. I need to check my Twitter. Like, science has also shown that, like, our brains are not meant to multitask to the point where we have cultured ourselves in the Western world. And what's interesting about this device is here is a high fashion designer trying to take fashion and an ideology, minimalism, novel concept.
Talking my language.
And put it into a device. But my technologist hat comes on and says, well, would it even fly? Like outside of maybe like the elderly, somebody who doesn't need it, or you have a kiddo and it's a first phone, because I remember the days of the old Nokias where those things were a brick but bulletproof.
Yes.
But for somebody who was, somewhere between my generation and your generation, would they want to have this in their pocket?
If the right people busted them out at the right parties and got enough product placement in movies and television that they have that there, if enough of the cool people, enough of the cool kids in this world did it, yes, that will catch on.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here. But we did try to have that. Kim Kardashian herself, BlackBerry user extraordinaire. And if Kim can't do it, ... is it just futile for them to throw out a good looking, fancy marketing dumb phone?
Hey, hang on one second. Let me take a drink of my water to get the vomit taste out of my mouth. Okay, so yes, if anyone can do it, that's wonderful. But there's a trend of look at all that I can do and look at how much this matters. Wouldn't it be great if the hipsters around us were so hipster that they were going to say, I only need to make phone calls. In fact, there are times when I don't want to be available. I'm taking that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and I'm like totally going to be off the grid. But in emergencies, in case something happens, I'm only going to use a regular phone.
The head bob.
Is that how hipsters? I'm not sure.
I don't know if that's hipster, but man, I wish I had that on video. That was priceless.
Well, but you get the point.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
As soon as this is part of that Malcolm Gladwell book that I read called The Tipping Point. As soon as something catches fire, and a lot of people start to use it, it just gets overwhelming.
Sure.
And the newest trend on Twitter and the cover of Time magazine, disconnect, how America is unplugging from technology. And then the CEO of punked.ch is on there, and they're giving their interview, and they are espousing the virtues of not always being available.
Yeah.
Wow, what a concept for 2019, 2020. So anyway, that is saved for a total full-on podcast in the future.
Yeah.
But it's a great concept, and yes, we live in the future.
Yep.
But what if that future involved not always being available and not always being connected to our work, our social network, and we were able to actually take that time to allow our brains to process, allow our brains to rest. Wow, what a wonderful concept. And one thing at a time, one app at a time. I removed Tweetbot from my phone.
Okay.
I don't need to know if I'm getting pinged or someone's liking my tweets. By the way, my tweets don't get liked a lot. Like my tweets. If I have less of a distraction for a notification,
yeah.
If I have to have that brain urge to check something, all the better.
Interesting.
Yes, I'm exhaling now. And I get worked up on these things. I should probably calm down.
I know. That's why I threw it out. Anyway, I just want to put it on your radar because
Yes.
I think you're right. I think it is a trend in technology. And I think the show will go down that rabbit hole a little bit more.
As time goes on, I mean, I talked about taking a little digital detox on a family trip. Mm-hmm. And it was great. And I had the ability to gain perspective, which I've applied in my regular life. And, it takes 21 days to establish a routine. Well, I had 5 days of vacation, plus some time after that, starting to work on building a system.
Cool.
And that of, taking a little bit of my life back. So, right. So let's talk about districts in Bellingham.
Woohoo!
Happy change of subject. Last podcast, we talked about the Fairhaven district.
Yep.
As we're traveling up north in Bellingham, we have the Sehome district. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of like the Western Washington University district, and that's kind of like the Sehome Village district. And
well, there's plenty of districts on that exit, but the first district along that exit is the Sehome.
Yes.
Named after the Sehome Hill.
Yes.
So, Chris Powell, what is your favorite spot in the Sehome district? Go.
There are many spots that I enjoy, but the one that I'm going to publicize now is probably not one that many people would predict nor recognize. This is a fairly obscure place, and I'm always about the obscure places that are awesome and such. So if you go down to, it's tough to describe, but if you go to the Starvin SAMs gas station,
You're plugging a gas station?
Not quite.
Okay.
It's in the little strip mall area. If you go along, 32nd Street or along in that district, there is a restaurant there called QQ Lee.
QQ's?
Kid you not. That's my place. I dig the joint. All right.
Yeah.
So you go there, you give them the order. They've got a ton of dishes available, and they have lovely pictures of the food. That's great. It's about $7 for a 2-item combo, and it weighs about 2 pounds. The portion size fills you up. I'm a fan. I dig QQ Lee in the Sehome district.
Dig it. Okay.
And I will defend them to any kind of food connoisseur foodies. Bring it on, because I like first of all, I like their atmosphere, and of course they get a lot of foot traffic from Sehome High School. So the tip is, okay, listen carefully now. Go there around 11:35 a.m. because you will get your food, bang, and then you will see this line of kids. Not 6 minutes later, you're munching on your plate of chow, which is great and tasty, and you're watching them wait and loiter about, and you get to, be done and you're back, on your day's path without having to wait in line for a whole lot of stuff.
Dig it.
QQ Lee in the Sehome district, kind of by the Starvin SAMs gas station. AJ, photographer extraordinaire, man about town, geek at large, if you will. Every moment has a story. What moment or what story in Sehome district do you enjoy the most?
I see you're trying to build more of a segue. I like it.
Slight competitiveness, but that's okay. So, where do you like?
So mine is not going to be around imbibing or around food. Mine is actually about. I'm going to take a moment. If you hear that on the mics,
Tweet.
those tweets. I'm talking about nature, because I kind of led into it in going into this bit, the Sehome Arboretum.
Ah, yes.
That is, and it's funny because, for instance, I just took a walk up there, and when I was a grad student at Western, I used to run those trails. And what's interesting is that everybody knows at the top of the Sehome Arboretum there is the Firewatch Tower, or not Firewatch Tower, observation deck tower.
Yep. I know it well.
Yeah, everybody does. What I've found out recently after walking with a colleague, not everybody knows about all the trails coming down from that place.
Okay.
So most people, if you're heading towards Western, you've got a turnoff right before one of their dorms, Buchanan Towers, I think it's the dorm.
And also the Western
the
commissary.
The commissary, and also the archives is right across the way as well.
Washington State stoplight. There's a stoplight there.
There's a stoplight,
yes.
And then you turn right, and there's the base of. You can either hike up, which it is quite a bit of a hike, but it's all paved. If you wanted to get your exercise in, or you can drive to the top and you get to the tower. But what's interesting is all around there, you can literally hike trails. Like if you're interested in hiking, but you don't want to go, backcountry Bear Grylls style.
You don't want a Jack London type hike.
No, you don't want a Jack London type hike, but you want to be out and about. Maybe you have a son or a daughter that you want to take them out in the outdoors. That's a little bit rougher, but not scary. Some people don't like going out in the woods, or they're uncomfortable with it. Voila. You can basically hike all around the Arboretum and go on offshoot trails. Everything is marked. You can even tell the ones that are unmarked is pretty safe too, because they're usually done by college students that are trying to scamper in between two trails because they're probably late for class or whatever. But what's interesting about it is, like I said, get off the beaten path when you go up there. A lot of people just drive up to the top, or they walk the paved way because they want to get their steps. But break away from that. You'll find out that, if you go on those back trails, you'll notice some rock formations boulders. Like if you have a kiddo that likes to, experiment and take a look at, rocks, dude, go back there. You can hike the trails all day, and heck, even if, and I'm not saying that you should, but even if you have a kiddo and they're too connected, maybe they're playing that hip phase of Pokemon Go.
You blaspheme now.
I'm not blaspheming.
Don't be blaspheming the Pokemon now.
But what's interesting is like, there's Pokestops up there. I'll even tell you there is. But what's interesting is I recently heard about Fresno College down in California. Mm-hmm. They have a 1-credit class, it's a PE class, on walking. When you read their curriculum, the curriculum is based around Pokemon Go. Getting people who are, it's California, so they're going to be, the population demographic down there may be overly connected. So how do you get those people out? Okay, use something that everybody's hip on, Pokemon Go, and integrate it into your class and go for a walk.
Sure.
How cool would it be to walk some trail and then capture some Pokemon? It's pretty cool. I did it, full disclosure.
And we love you for it.
Yeah, well, no, it's something that, it is a piece of technology. Pokemon Go, for good or for bad, it's Ingress rebranded. We all know it. But the thing is that I'm trying to say here is that a lot of us get into the routine of going, like I've mentioned that's why we're doing these bits. Like we get into a routine where we go to certain places, we do it in a certain way, we take the same roads. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect example. Sehome Arboretum, we all do the same thing. Oh, I'm going to go up to the tower, get my selfie at the top of the tower. P.S. and by the way, the treetops are a lot taller, so if you're like me and haven't been up there in several years, you're not going to see the bay until winter now. Look, break away from it. When you go out into the woods, it's not about taking the path well-traveled, it's the one not so well-traveled. Break out of it, and you might see something that you didn't even notice was there.
And on the lines with Pokemon Go, as much as I'm alluding to dissing it, you're getting some exercise, you're getting your 10,000 steps, and it is fun.
Yeah.
If it provides you joy, giddy up. Get on your horse, get on your phone, catch them all. 15 years ago, people were saying, stop playing Pokemon, go outside. Now they're saying, stop playing Pokemon, go inside. Anyway,
so that's my pick, is Sehome Arboretum, but with the caveat, don't just go to the top. Take some of the offside trails and see where they go.
And then once you work up a great appetite, go have lunch at QQ Lee.
See, exactly.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up. What do you say?
That sounds good. Chris, if somebody wanted to leave us a voicemail or message or tweet or something another, let's say somebody's listening to this and just with absolute rage of how dare we blaspheme the Pokemon Goeth, how do they get a hold of us?
By the throat. No, actually, that wouldn't work out that well. Give us a call on your smartphone or dumb phone, depending on what you have. Area code 201-731-8324. That's 201-731-TECH. And leave us a voicemail. Let us know what's on your mind. We'd love to hear from you. And we'd love to be able to talk about some ideas for future shows because, AJ and I are coming up with all this. There's plenty to talk about in Bellingham and in technology. But if there's something in particular that you got on your mind, what's coming up this fall from Apple, what's coming up on the newest version of Android, what kind of phone should I be buying? Holiday seasons are approaching faster than we care to admit, folks.
Yeah.
And we've got some pretty good ways of saving you some money and getting you a pretty decent device so that you don't have to go shopping at midnight for the doorbuster sales. My eyes are rolling in the back of my head as I'm saying this.
I was going to say, I'm going to abstain from any comment with regards to that fake holiday.
Yes, we're 3 months away, but still.
Yes.
Get out in front of it, save yourself some time and headaches. But yeah, 201-731-TECH.
Awesome. And also you can check, on Twitter, you can hashtag BPM Podcast. That's a hashtag that Chris and I do monitor. So if you have a short 140 character nice tweet, you can also hashtag there and we'll take a look at it. Maybe you might be on the show.
We're hoping we won't have to do a section on this show called Mean Tweets.
Yes.
But we'll see how that turns out.
Read by Morgan Freeman.
That's right.
Chris, if somebody wanted to stalk you subduedly on the internet, how would they do that?
Well, I am on LinkedIn as Chris Powell Tech, and I have LinkedIn. Don't look at me like that. I got a LinkedIn account. I'm a professional technologist.
You're deviating from the normal thing. I'm just like...
Well, it's kind of like, you wrap up a show and everyone's like, yeah, skip. I want people to like, oh, they might
Till
be
the
talking.
bitter end.
That's right.
Okay, LinkedIn. What's your LinkedIn URL?
Just LinkedIn Chris Powell Tech, fool.
Okay.
But otherwise, check out chrispowell.co, which is my personal site. It's under construction. I'm working on it. I'm learning WordPress.
Hey, I like the new look. It's
you.
even more minimal, if that's even possible.
I'm just trying my best to put a good face for technology, because Lord knows there's so many negative faces of technology out there for people to have to contend with. So yeah, or if you are bored, Google Chris Powell Bellingham and see what you get. So anyway, AJ, how about you? Other than patreon.com, AJ Barcet, where can someone check out your photography?
Photography, ajbarcet.com, or 500 pics. I'm on there a lot. 500px.com/AJ Barcet, or on Instagram and Twitter. It's the same thing, at AJ Barcet.
Sounds good.
Word. That wraps it up for this edition of BPM Tech. Thank you so much for tuning in, subscribing, and hopefully rating us on whatever location that you're getting this feed. We are located on SoundCloud. We're located on Spreaker. That's speaker, but with an R. We're also on Google Play. So anybody out there in Android land that's listening to us, please rate us. Give us a comment. Like the show. Up thumb or down thumb. BPM Tech on the Google Play Store or iTunes, which we have a couple of comments and stars. Thank you for rating and reviewing us on said places. I'm AJ Barcet.
And I'm Chris Powell. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast. We really appreciate it. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time.